The week 5 slate is aplenty. I mean, we have some massive matchups. And here on Crain and Company, we like to get the breakouts out. We want all week to talk about it, and we're going to talk about it today, tomorrow, the next day. Because like you, we're obsessed with college football in the best way possible. And one of the biggest matchups, could be top 5 matchup. If you look at the AP, it's definitely going to be a top 10 regardless, is a huge one in the Big Ten. Oregon, 4-0, 1-0 in the Big Ten. Penn State, 3-0, 0-0 in the Big Ten. And David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback, he knows a lot about the Big Ten. We are going to be able to find out so much from Oregon on that defensive front that we've talked about, seeing Drew Aller have to go against somebody that, again, is going to make him have to earn it. We'll see if it's through the air or not. I've got an opinion on that. But just, David, this matchup, it's a huge one every season now that Oregon's in the Big Ten, and it is massive this year.
No, we've been circling this one all off season. And look, just from a high level perspective here, I watched Dan Lannon come into the Big Ten a year ago with Oregon, go undefeated in the regular season, win the Big Ten his first year in the league. And then obviously when it came time with that Rose Bowl and a rematch against the Buckeyes, they got exposed and they went home early, bitter taste in your mouth. Penn State, on the other hand, with James Franklin, I watched this guy win double-digit games every single year. But what is it? He can't get over the Buckeyes hump or can't get over the Michigan hump, right? Won the Big Ten 1 year during the Saquon Barkley years, but this is one we've had penciled because we said, hey, this is a great litmus test for where both of these programs are, and Oregon has to go across the country, go to Happy Valley. So I told you before the season started, Penn State, I was going to ride with them to win the national championship this year. I was going to take the approach of, hey, everyone said Kirby Smart can't win it, and then what did he do? He went out and won it. Everyone said Ryan Day can't win it, then he went out and won it. The same I said can be true for James Franklin with this roster. When you talk about these running backs, Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton, when you talk about bringing in guys like Kyron Hudson from USC, can you make plays on the outside and compete against teams like Oregon when they're coming in and they're so balanced on both sides of the football? But Drew Aller, is that the guy who can step up in big games, make plays with his feet and with his legs, make smart decisions, be accurate, and will you to wins? That's what I'm excited to see.
And you talk about kind of team identity. I don't know if it could be more juxtaposed between what Oregon wants to do offensively and then what Penn State wants to do offensively. Before the season, we talked about in big games, it seems like Dan Lanning's defense, which is surprising, has been the biggest problem for Oregon. And as I'm projecting this one in Happy Valley, which is not so happy if you're the opposing team, I really, really like Penn State's run game against Oregon's front seven on defense. I know Northwestern popped an 80-yard run at the end, right, that kind of juiced up the numbers a little bit against Oregon, but I watched that whole game 2 weeks ago. The game against Oregon State's just a bad football team. Oklahoma State, really bad football team. We saw what happened with them against Tulsa. But there's something about just this Oregon defensive line not seeming to be able to play on the other side of the line of scrimmage in the run game. And Penn State specializes with Singleton and with Allen, with what they can do on the jet sweep motion, with being able to give the ball to Pena. But there is something about this Penn State run game. I feel like this matchup, David, is very, 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 very good for what Penn State wants to do, and they're at home. Am I crazy in saying that?
You're not crazy in saying that. I'm just wondering how much Dan Lanning and these Oregon coaches on defense are looking at, say, some game plans from Oklahoma. Oklahoma against Michigan and Oklahoma yesterday against Auburn. I saw them dedicate resources to the run game, stack the box, and say, guess what? We're going to make the quarterback on the other side beat us. Can Oregon's defense do that against Penn State and say, hey, first and foremost, let's stop the run game and figure things out from there. Let's see if Drew Aller is the guy who really can go and beat us in a football game. That's something I'm interested to see. Or did they just make it a mixed bag? A mixed bag throughout the entire game. I know that Dan Lanning comes from that side of the ball. He can do that. Right now, I did want to say Penn State -3.5 on the line right now. So they're getting a full field goal plus the hook, 53.5 on the over-under.
Well, on the other side of the ball, Dante Moore and this offense going up against a Penn State defense that we know is talented. But I mean, you look, I can go through the list of these Oregon skill players, guys that can make plays, whether it's DeCorian, you look at Lemar, Oregon always has guys that can run. Remember, Evan Stewart got hurt before the season, but they have some guys that can really do it. If you're Penn State and, you're on the defensive side, and we know Dante Moore has got experience, not a ton, but he's got experience and has shown talent. Are you heating this guy? If it's me, I'm going to heat him up a little bit early. I'm going to heat him up, see if I can get him to throw us a couple. I say us being Penn State. I have no allegiance to Penn State, but just on the defensive side of the ball, and then try and get them in those predictable downs, the 3rd and 7s, the 3rd and 9s, the 3rd and 12s, where they have to throw it, where you can let Dennis Sutton and these ends really go get it. It's just, can Oregon make the explosive plays enough?
Yes.
Where if Penn State is playing keep away because they're having success running the ball, which I think they will, and I'm sure Dan will show this to the defense, and that's fine. I think Penn State will have success running it. If you do that, you control time. If you do that, you control tempo. So at some point, Oregon's got to hit some explosives. I know Penn State, the schedule hasn't been amazing so far, but David, they're typically really talented on defense, and they make you earn it down the field.
If Penn State's going to bring pressure on defense, they need to pick their spots and they need to get home. Okay, they need to get home, and here's why I say that. Because first off, we know with the Oregon offense, this quick game and now screen game that they have is really it supplements the run game, which is why you saw a quarterback like Bo Nix, as talented as he was, is breaking the all-time completion percentage record, because a lot of these throws are right now. These are basically long handoffs. Okay, well, they're still doing that, and Dante Moore has picked up beautifully, so it becomes a math equation inside the box. And if he can be right when he analyzes pressure that's coming to him, then that supplement of the run game out wide is going to be his best friend. But on top of that, so far this year, and I know he hasn't played a defense like Penn State, Dante Moore has shown me that he can be accurate and effective through the air passing the football. So you really have a double-edged sword there, which is I can kick it out right now if the numbers are in favor, or when we start getting into play action and drop back, I have playmakers on the outside who are great route runners, and I've been accurate with the football so far. So Penn State has got to get home, because if you bring that pressure and leave yourself exposed in the back end, I think you're playing against a quarterback who can take advantage of that.
No, without a doubt. And again, if you've watched any of Dante Moore this season, he can make every throw. There's not a throw out in the field that he can't make. He's got a really strong arm. He's shown the ability to have some touch. What I want to see from him, I think, and you're going to need to see this against Penn State, it's his ability to scramble to hurt a defense, not just scramble to get out and get the ball away. I think he's athletic enough, and he's shown you this in pieces, right? But being able to recognize man coverage, hey, instead of trying to make this 3 out of 10 throw on the run going to my left, let me take off, see if I can go get 12 to 15 and slide and keep myself out of harm's way. But again, as much as we're going to talk about the run game,
why can't Drew Aller do that?
Well, I think Drew does it about as well. Drew's got that goofy ass running ability, right? When you watch him, it kind of looks like a giraffe on roller skates. But there's an old saying, one of the best defense coordinators ever worked for said, it's hard to tackle goofy. Like guys that run funny. Jameis Winston, it's amazing. He just used to break tackles off of pure goofiness, just because you're not used to tackling something that's moving like one of those inflatable things out in front of a car dealership that they shoot air through when they run. And if you watch, Drew Aller's kind of got that, right? Josh Allen kind of has that a little bit, but he's more athletic than what Drew is. But what I find interesting about Penn State, and again, all week, including us, we're going to be talking about the run game. Katron Allen, right? Nicholas Singleton, this, that, and the other, which it is interesting. Nick Singleton has almost 100 less yards on 7 more carries than Katron Allen.
And more touchdowns too, right?
Yeah. And Singleton has 5 touchdowns. Allen has 3. But the disparity there, and again, you look at who they played, it kind of makes sense. But what I like, and you kind of alluded to this earlier, Cone, when you look at Penn State is, Drew Aller has kind of spread the ball around pretty evenly when they've thrown it. Now, they really haven't had to throw it, but you look at Pena, 13 catches, 166 yards. Kyron Hudson, who you mentioned, 14 catches, 156 yards. Luke Reynolds, the tight end, 13 catches, 142 yards. So those are really his three guys outside of the back, right? We know Penn State does a lot of stuff designed, not just in the screen game, but angle routes, right? Swings, things like that, especially in the red zone to get these backs involved in the pass game. Has Drew Haller shown you or had to show you that he's been able to take another step toward being a more complete passer?
Well, not just yet, but this is the moment to do that,
Yeah.
right? And this is why this matchup is so interesting to me, because some of the programs across the country got baptized by fire early on. LSU, Clemson, Buckeyes, Texas. Well, Oregon and Penn State both have gotten a chance to get their feet in the water a little bit. Hey, let's feel out 2025. And then when a big matchup like this comes around, let's show the country what we're capable of. Here's the thing, though. One of the football teams in this game is going to lose, right? And when they lose, while this is a great litmus test to tell us what we can expect moving forward, there is no sort of ultimatum that's attached to this game. Nothing is out of the window as far as team goals go, right? Penn State could still move on with the loss and win the national championship, as could Oregon. What I'm a little bit more interested in, and this is just based off what I saw in week 4, particularly with what Texas Tech did to Utah and what Indiana did to Illinois, is what if we're in a situation here where one of these teams doesn't just win by a point or a field goal or even a touchdown? What if we're in for a situation where Penn State or Oregon does what we saw Texas Tech do to Utah, or even worse, what we saw Indiana do to Illinois, which is send a statement and beat their opponent by 30 points? Then you could be looking at a team that sets themselves up nicely with the winner, and the loser is saying, wow, I know it's only one win, but man, we're in such a deep hole now because of the way we lost.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I mean, again, optics are always important, but when you have a 12-team playoff and you feel like there's this much parity in college football, the optics become even more important in these games as we get down the stretch, because that could be the difference in a team with similar records or equal records that they put in, or teams that they leave out. So your point is 100% correct. We're going to predict this game on Wednesday. We're obviously going to be talking about both of these teams as we put out our power rankings. We look at the college football playoff projections going into week 5. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. We want to know in the comments, who do you have winning this game? And David, is there anything else, at least this early, that you're looking at in to try and set the fans up what they need to be looking at coming on next Saturday? I can't wait for this one, man. It's a mega matchup.
Yeah, I don't know who I'm going to take in this one yet. I think 3.5 points, man. I'd almost take Oregon with 3.5 points against anyone in the country. Just keep in mind having to go all the way across the country.
Yeah.
We analyzed this a year ago when some of those West Coast teams entered the Big Ten. Sometimes even getting off to a slow start that many time zones over can make a difference in a big game like this. But,
sure.
How well can Penn State run the ball, and is Oregon supplementing their run game with some of this quick passing? And for an audience member who's listening to be able to identify that when they're watching the game and say, oh, that's essentially Oregon having some success in the run game. That's something that I'm going to be watching for.
Me too, and we appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button. Check out all the content that we have coming out this week on Crain & Company.